Before you watch Mike Tyson on Raw tonight, we're going to go over the wrestling headlines, what's new in the world of wrestling. We're going to take a look at the mailbag, see what the tweeters are saying. And finally, I've got a little message for Jim Cornette, who did not like TNA Impact or WWE Raw last Monday. Right here, right now, it's the Kick-Ass Wrestling Show.
What you want, what you want.
Started on the right foot. It's time for wrestling headlines. What's new in the world of wrestling? We've got a special wrestling headline for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be all TNA. That's right, all TNA. I got a few complaints, I have to tell you, that I've had a little bit too much WWE on the program lately. We did the Monday Night Report, and I had more Raw than I had Impact. And later tonight, I want you to come back because I'm going to have a very special Monday Night Report on Raw, the Mike Tyson Raw tonight. It's going to be coming at you later tonight. You might want to check it out on Tuesday. It's going to be kind of late, but if you're staying up, come back with us. All that being said, for my TNA fans, since we're doing so much WWE and Impact was a replay last Thursday, we're going to do this entire segment, Wrestling Headlines, just for you. TNA News. Let's get started. Wrestling guru Jeremy Borash is in the news because he was talking recently and he had something to say about a big name has been signed to TNA and will be appearing at the Genesis pay-per-view. So I don't know about you, but I'm pumped up. And I got even more excited when I found out that it's RoboCop. RoboCop, ladies and gentlemen, is coming back. And I've been a big fan of RoboCop. His first appearance in wrestling was phenomenal, so I'm sure the second will be just as good. So big thanks to you, Jeremy. Thank you for reporting that to us. I appreciate it. Vince Russo is still on his Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, Vince Russo, as a matter of fact, is going nuts on his Facebook. He's writing practically a tell-all. Him and Hogan, you know, even though they didn't like each other, they're working together. Him and Bischoff, even though they didn't like each other, they're working together. And this just recently, he posted, maybe 2 minutes ago, that I still don't like that no good son of a Hulk Hogan. So, I don't know what's going on. I hope he's still there, because I think they can make it work, all of them together. So, keep your fingers crossed, you know, and keep your eyes on Vince Russo's Facebook. Big news. This six-sided ring is history now in TNA. It's gone. It's going to be back to the four-sided. The old school, the traditional model is coming back. And a lot of speculation in TNA about what type of angle are they going to shoot to kind of get rid of this six-sided ring, because you need an angle. So number one on the list is to take down the six-sided ring and put up a four-sided ring, okay? We don't need angles for everything. Just do it. Jesus. Ric Flair back in the news. I love me some Ric Flair. I'm glad he's back. I heard that Flair very emotional when he saw the Stinger in the locker room. He saw Sting and they hugged and embraced, and Sting told him, "You're the reason I'm staying," to Ric Flair. So I thought that was just great. And then Ric Flair went on to say, he talked to Hulk Hogan, who said, "Rick, you're the best wrestler in the history of the business ever." He talked to Jeff Jarrett later that night, who said, "I'm sorry, Rick, for using the figure 4 leg lock. I apologize. That shouldn't have been my finisher." I thought that was phenomenal. And then finally, Dixie Carter, to get Ric Flair on over to TNA, agreed to ride Space Mountain. So that was really going all out, and I think Dixie definitely delivered for the TNA fans. So we appreciate that very much. The internet is on fire lately because the WWE is releasing a lot of their developmental wrestlers. A lot of wrestlers who you haven't seen yet because they're working on their movesets, they're getting their personalities down pat. A lot of them are released. DJ Gabriel, Sweet Poppy Sanchez, Dino Carter. A lot of these guys no longer going to have work. TNA, on the other hand, they've got some great prospects of their own, and they're not releasing them. All right, so they still got Scotty Riggs. He's looking like he could be something big. They got a ton of prospects there. Magnum TA, I'm hearing, is going to be phenomenal for them. So TNA has some great prospects, some great young guns ready to take over for these guys, if and when the time is right, of course. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette is back in the news. He let off a rant on the internet where he said all sorts of mean, nasty things about TNA in particular, and also the WWE, saying TNA laid a turd, saying you Dixie Carter, saying all sorts of just mean, terrible things. He then added, though, which I thought was nice of him, he then added at the end that he would take it all back if TNA rehires him. So I thought that was a class act by Jim Cornette, because he's just a classy guy, very positive guy, real positive influence to have in the wrestling business. All right, so that's your wrestling headlines, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed them. Now let's go talk to some of the tweeters out there. And you guys need to follow me on Twitter. It's Kickass Wrestling. I'm tweeting all the time. You can talk to me anytime. I'm pretty much obsessed with it. So let's go into my room. Let's check out the tweeters and see if they have any good questions or comments for me this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, time for the mailbag segment. Let me see what I got here on my laptop. Let's see who has tweeted me some interesting wrestling questions. Let's take a look. M. Hughes, 52, with a pretty good question here. What current WWE stars could you see jumping ship to TNA? Well, I don't know about stars. Right off the bat, you got to think Matt Hardy, because I doubt that WWE wants much to do with him now. We'll see, but I don't think he's going to get a push there, and I heard he was teasing that he could come to TNA. You know, that would take a long time to happen, so that's not something that could happen overnight. But I think the idea of the Hardy Boys maybe reforming the tag team together, maybe taking out the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Hall, that would be kind of a cool little matchup that I could see right off the top of my head. But as for stars, guys that could really change the picture in TNA, I'm not so sure anyone right now in WWE that I could see jumping ship. I'd have to look outside the WWE. I think Goldberg is sitting there, and I think sooner or later you're going to see him. So, other than that, though, I'm not so sure about WWE stars, Mr. M. Hughes, but thank you very much for the question. And this comes from a good friend of mine on Twitter, Marie Blaze. She wants to know, do you think the WWE is pushing the young stars properly? This kind of leads me into what I want to talk about tonight with you fans, and it's in response to what a fellow named Jim Cornette had to say about the Monday Night Wars this past Monday. So come and take a walk with me, because I have something I want to say to Mr. Cornette, Marie, and in the same time I'm going to answer your question about young stars and if they're getting the pushes that they should properly get. So come on inside, let's take a walk, let's talk about this. Listen, Jim Cornette, I used to watch you. I was a big fan of the Midnight Express. I loved beautiful Bobby Eaton. He was real cool. But enough. Back when the NWO first formed, back in the 90s, you had this huge rant about how they were old and Hogan was old and all these old wrestlers and how terrible it was. Now we look back as wrestling fans and say that that time in the 90s was one of our favorites. You said it was terrible. You were hating on what WCW was doing at that time. And now you're back again, hating on TNA, hating on WWE. Cornette, you are one of the most negative people I have ever heard of in my life. You need to cut out the negativity, forget bashing everything and bashing every wrestler. If you had your way, WWE would go under, TNA would go under, and all that would be left is everything that Jim Cornette approved of. Well, not all of us want to watch wrestling matches for 2 hours straight. I love great wrestling matches, but you need good stories, you need storylines. Times have changed. This isn't the 1980s anymore. And everywhere Jim Cornette goes, it's his way or the highway. Well, thank God TNA told Jim Cornette to hit the highway.